Hi, husbands.
Hi, husbands! This episode, we interview a very, very nice and attractive couple who both are named Alex.
Alex Squared Adventures coming at you.
They're from Midland, Texas. They have a little girl and two golden retrievers, and their story is quite fascinating. So check it out.
Hey guys, how are you?
How's it going?
Hi,
Doing really good.
Hi, husbands. So happy you're here. You're coming to us from Midland, Texas, and most people who don't know Texas, like our friends. I'm thinking of our friends in New York. They know we live in Houston, so they must think, oh, you guys are like a hop, skip, and a jump from where you live. You're in Texas, but how Texas
is huge.
So
It's a
Houston
huge
to
state.
Midland for us is about 7.5 hours.
Yeah.
Right? But you both met kind of in the area. You went to college at Texas Tech, correct?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you met in college.
Yeah,
That's right.
Tell
we
us
both are
about-
from Midland. We didn't get to meet in Midland until we went to college, and that's where we met.
You're both
It's-
from Midland, but you didn't know each other, and you met at Texas Tech.
Yeah,
So yeah, I was born and raised in Midland, and then Alex moved to Midland when he was 17 from Venezuela. But we actually didn't meet in Midland. We went to the same high school. Like we had a lot of opportunities to cross paths, but we just didn't. And it wasn't until we went to Texas Tech to study that we met over there.
Now,
Wow.
what did you both major in at Texas Tech?
mechanical engineering.
You both were mechanical engineering majors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a senior because Alex had started doing the community college before he transferred. So he had a study session with one of my best friends who then was doing a study group with me. And that's like
Study
the first
group.
time we saw each other.
It's funny, the commonalities go on and on. We were born the same year. We're like dragon babies, first grandkids. We both go by Alex. It's hilarious.
Our moms got the same age.
Yeah.
It keeps going, but yeah.
So you ended up back in Midland. Did you ever see yourself living in Midland even after you went to college?
You know, Midland, I always describe it like a black hole. It's, I think growing up, you don't know any better, and so growing up, it was fine. But I would describe it as a like conservative town, family values, high school football.
Not our family values.
Quote unquote.
Yeah,
Not
and
our family values.
they like traditional,
Yes.
Yeah.
per se. So I like me leaving college was a way to get out, but an opportunity. We're both in oil and gas. We're both in the energy industry, and Midland is the heart of it all. It's like the Permian, and so an opportunity came up for our family to move to Houston, and we evaluated it. And at the point that we were in our lives, it made sense. And so it's definitely not forever, but it's perfect for right now.
Yeah, we keep missing Houston every day. Like we talk to our friends and we're like, oh, we wish we were back home so we can go do stuff. But yeah, work is here and our immediate family is also here, so it's been helpful. Now we have the baby.
It's
having
like a
the grandma
bi-weekly
over.
conversation at the dinner table. What are we doing? Should we move back? When are we going to move back? So
How is it having your family so close by? Do you lean on them for support, and how much do they help out?
Yeah, so it's been a lot of help. Originally we knew that hey, we're bringing a baby to this world. It's on us. We gotta do it all. But that kind of puts a lot of pressure. And as new time parents, you feel like you can do everything. Like those first few weeks were so exhausting. But no, our moms came over. My sister, she actually was our gestational carrier for our surrogacy journey. Yeah, there is a long story there, but yeah. So my sister will help. My mom will come over, help us a few hours. We get to kind of take a nap and recharge. And now the grandmothers just come over all the time. They just want to play with their granddaughter all the time, and that gives us time to go have like a couple hours dinner day, or go work out, or go do like some of the little things for ourselves. But it's been
It's kind of a random question, but because it was your sister who is the gestational carrier, and this is kind of a stupid question too, but was there also a legal agreement between you guys?
yeah.
Okay,
So
I know that's a silly question, but in my head, that's where my brain went. I was like,
no. It's
a
very
legal
important because we know people that have their family members have tried to help. Like if the daughter can't give birth, or having trouble getting pregnant, moms will step in and be like, hey, I'll help you. But in our case, we were in the adoption journey for like a couple of years.
Got it.
And we had a few opportunities, and it was heartbreaking, kind of being so close to getting that baby and then not happening, that my sister just one day told us, you know what, I'm done having kids, but if you guys want,
Right.
I'll more than happy care for you guys. And we're like, oh, okay, let's look into that one. But yeah, we had to do, everything.
It was yeah. I know that's a silly question, but that's where my brain went. And when it's like, yes, of course you have a legal. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm very curious. So your daughter is now how old? Tell us about your daughter. Her name is. She's how
Her
old?
name is Mia Mariana, and so it's a combination of all the women in our life. And so Mariana is a combination of both of our mom's name, so Mariangela, and then Ana, so Mariana. And then we've always really loved the name Mia, and it's actually a short form of Maria, which is Alex's sister's name.
Yeah.
So if we have another girl, we're
We're in trouble.
we've ran out
You
of
used
names.
them all up.
We'll do like an Alexis or Alexandra. Or something.
Alexandra, I was gonna say.
That's
But-
kind of like the word, yeah.
But she's going on 11 months. It's going to be a year at the end of February, and she's absolutely perfect and beautiful. And I mean, parenting in itself is exhausting, but knock on wood, we've I think been very fortunate and blessed with the journey that we've had with her in this first year. And so it can be very tiring at times. I'm sure you must know, but I think she's a really good baby. At like 8 weeks, she was sleeping through the night, and then she went through a sleep regression, and then there was a whole phase of, I'm going to say, like throwing up that was a phase, but we've like gone through that, and now she's crawling and she's growing and she's got her own little personality, and it's beautiful.
I love the combination of names. I feel like at one point my mom's name is Marcella and his mom's name is Deanna, and I once said, I was like, we could call our girl Mariana, like that. Anyways,
Oh,
but
you
that's
did?
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and it took a while because we were like debating names,
Yeah.
and then one day it's like, okay, no, let's just narrow it down, because I feel like it was getting close to announcing it, and we're like, okay, we want to announce this in one go, name, gender, all together. We couldn't wait.
Yeah.
So you're both working oil and gas, I'm assuming full time. Yeah.
Yes.
5 days a week. What are your like tricks to balancing parenting and work and life?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I guess I've come to learn about myself. As we became parents, I felt like we were always like tight on time, like, oh, we don't have time to do this, or but we just learned that we never managed our time properly. Ever since Mia came here, like for the two of us, it was always like, okay, we got this little human being, we got to do it right. Like you always kind of drag your past, and you kind of want to do better, and we can organize ourselves. Alex and I started taking turns from the moment she was born. So our jobs fortunately offer parental leave. So we both were able to take combined 16 weeks. So Alex and I were like, the first 2 weeks we spent it together, and then it was 1 week I will work, Alex will help with her, and then back and forth until she was able to go to daycare, which we also happen to have daycare at work. So it's been
Nice.
and yeah, we have some like things kind of lined up that kind of help us, manage our time better. But we work on a schedule. From the day one, we've started a routine with her as much as we could, right? Sometimes we are not really on that routine, but we push ourselves to always be in a routine. This is what we're gonna do in the mornings. Feeding time, bath time, reading time, and then we took on our own fitness and nutrition, which prior to baby, we were just kind of like, work out whenever we cool, eat whenever we cool. But with her, there was always that thing in my mind. It's like, oh my God, we need a lot of energy to match her as she continues to grow. And I don't know, I think organizing ourselves, it's being helpful. Like, yeah, I don't know if we've done like anything other than just kind of put her on a schedule and making sure like you're sticking to the routine, and eventually become a habit. Like at this point, yeah.
Is one of you more the leader in the schedule and like maintaining things than the other? Who's
Yeah. I'm the anxious one. Like Alex was saying, like, I at this point I know if she doesn't eat enough, she's gonna wake up later. So let's try to, increase her feedings or like do some dream feed to make sure she sleeps through the night.
Yeah.
But Alex helps a lot because it's not just setting up and getting anxious about it. It's also like supporting it. So Alex can help balance where when things are priority and then we don't kind of derail because we're just focusing on our routine.
I think I think we balance each other well because if we both had the same personalities or maybe parenting styles, then it could go from like one extreme to the other. And so I think it's good to have that balance and to recognize, and there's nothing wrong with having different parenting styles, and we get to kind of check ourselves and kind of bring the best of both worlds. So.
And what kind of parenting styles do you think each of you have? Describe each other's parenting styles.
Oh, I think I'm gonna
each other's parenting style.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you go.
Okay. So Alex is very hands-on. The type of parent that there were several times that we almost went to the ER, like in the middle of the night. He's always on top of, like, we use an app to track all her feedings, and that's really helpful because you're like, oh, she's eating this much or she pooped this much, why not? But he's like on it like diligently. And there's like this meme of Sunny in Philadelphia where the guy's like on a chalkboard and he's like, wait, we did this, but this happened. And so Alex will like analyze things, and if something is off, he's like, that's we did something off, what's going on. But on the flip side, he's always the one. There was one time that she had like an ear infection, and I was like, you know what, maybe she's just teething or something like this, and so we took her to the doctor, and she actually had an ear infection. And so if it wasn't for Alex, I think a lot of things maybe wouldn't get done, or or it would get done a lot later. And so he's very like on top of things.
And then how would you describe Alex?
And I think Alex is going to be one of those fun parents that is like, oh, the kid just wants to jump off the couch. Sure, you learn with the punches. But that's also good because, growing up, I grew up with a lot of fears. I don't get roller coasters. Oh my God. I got a terrible phobia. But I don't want that for her. So like, from the two of us, we kind of provide that, a little bit of guidance and a strict routine and flexibility. But no, I was like the fun parent. Hopefully I can be that, but I know I'm going to be more like, no, we're going to do homework. We're going to do this. And
well, I mean, someone has to do it, right? Someone has to be like, you got to do it. You got to get down. You got to sit down. You got to do your homework. So she's almost a year. What is the most interesting thing that you've learned about yourself since becoming a parent?
Yeah, I think time for me. I mean, we got busy jobs, but being able to manage our time in a much different way. Like I've gotten more efficient with it. Never thought that I had an issue with time management, to be honest. But ever since we've had her, having to do with daycare and illnesses and do activities for her, and I think for me it's just more about time management.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we're just a year into it, and so we got a lot more to learn and experience. I would consider myself a pretty optimistic person. So I don't know if and sometimes it borderlines like a little bit naive. I'll be completely honest. And so how hard can raising a baby be? It's I took care of my little brother for like a while, and diapers didn't worry me. But I would say how resilient. How much patience and how much little patience I have at times. How, when push comes to shove, this is going to sound gross, but you hear of like stories that we have like the Frida booger sucker thing.
Yeah.
But some people are like, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to suck those boogers out. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't know. But it's happened. I've done it. It's when push comes to shove. And so I was like, I guess proud of myself. Or, I stepped up to the plate. And then I think just how much parenting's hard. Babies are really resilient, and so you have to give yourself grace and not really, put yourself under like a microscope because, I mean, Yeah, it's very difficult. And so we've had a lot of good examples of what to do and what not to do, as parents. And so, I think as long as you love your child and you do your best, that's all you can do.
Well, that's great. That's good
really,
advice.
really good.
And I totally agree. I had a poop up the back day today at one moment.
Oh,
Just changing a diaper, and it just it was endless. I was like, oh, it's everywhere.
oh, we got stars to go.
Yeah. Like it'll set the tone for the whole day.
But also, what's interesting too about like the nose Frida, right? I remember we got it for a gift before Maverick was born, and I remember thinking,
we'll never have to get it out.
We'll never have to use this, or we'll use it once. We use it a lot.
We use it a lot.
We use it a lot. Yeah. So yeah, that's funny that you brought that up.
So I'm really interested to know, since you're in Midland, you're raising your child in a relatively conservative area. Do you have any crazy, what I call gay dads in public stories?
Actually, no. Midland is very conservative, but there is one thing I tell Alex that, even though there is a lot of conservatism, right, where there is not really many places to go, as gay parents. So we really haven't exposed ourselves and our daughter to that big of an audience here in Midland. Thankfully, we do have a great support group, and today we took her to the store for the first time to get groceries, and that was fun. But no, we haven't. Ever since she was born, we kind of told ourselves, wherever we go, she'll come with us. We'll travel as a family. We'll get her used early on, and we've traveled quite a bit, and we've been fortunate that we haven't had those experiences. We've listened to some podcasts of some other gay parents not so fortunate, having some, Karen, come to Jesus moment, and we're like, oh my God, I think I will lose it if something like that would have happened. But no, thankfully so far.
What about any common questions you get from people? Do people ask you things you're like, that's really none of your business?
Yeah. So one thing that happened a lot, and I don't know if it was intentional or just plain ignorance, but at work I'm out, right? So people know I have a husband, and a lot of my coworkers knew that we were having a baby. But in the locker room for our employee center, a lot of the people, every time they hear me talking about my kid, they're like, oh, how's mom? Or where's mom? And some of these things were, you kind of wait, I'm out. So I had to keep coming out now that I have a baby. It's like, you don't just come out when you're coming out. But yeah, I've never been thankfully, I've never had confidence issues of coming out. I was confused as a teenager, like probably most of us were. But coming out at work every single time, or with new people that we meet, is exhausting. It's not an issue for me. It's just exhausting that the first default is, where's mom? How is mom? And I get it. Women bear children, not men. But I think we're in a society where if you see a couple, don't make assumptions. It's for me, it's exhausting, that part of it.
Yeah, I try not to. It takes a lot, I think, for something to get to me. And typically you can tell if people mean well, or if there's ill intent in what they're asking. Some folks are just curious. We both are very, I would say, active in the employee network groups within our companies, and specifically the Pride and LGBT employee networks. And so because of that, sometimes I don't say I'm the face of those networks, but I help spearhead that particular chapter for our Midland location. And so I, being born and raised in Midland, I grew up in a religious household, and sometimes you have your own biases of what to expect. But I would say I've been happily surprised of the responses that I've gotten at work. The companies that we work for are international companies, and so they're very sometimes transient in nature, and Midland has become a very transient city. And so a lot of times, you have folks that aren't maybe local to Midland, but that come from Canada or South America. And so from the very get-go, our leadership, when we kicked off the Pride chapter, they were like, yes, yeah, do it. And when I say, let's raise the Pride flag, they're like, yes, raise the Pride flag. And then here last year, we actually raised the Progress flag. And so I, growing up in Midland, had never seen the flag, raised anywhere. And so here's, a major company and raising it, and you can see it from the highway. And I think the only feedback that like they got was because of the heights of the flag. There's certain, rules and I don't want to say regulations, but like with the Texas and American and flag. But other than that, there wasn't any feedback, received. And so we've heard similar feedback. There's a local nonprofit that we work with that works with the LGBTQ community, and they've told us stories, and so it's very motivating to hear the support that they have within the community. So it's definitely no San Francisco or no Houston, but it's changed. But we talk about how long we want to be here. I don't think it's like there maybe yet.
Yeah.
And having lived in other larger cities and having lived in Midland the majority of our, like I said, our lives, there's just so much more out there, and so we definitely want to experience more, and then have Mia experience more. And so
and now that we have her, although we haven't had any terrible experiences, we got to think about schools, and that's one thing where we know that Midland is just not going to suffice. Some of the best schools are private, and they're more Catholic, Christian, like all these religious bases, where we know it's just not going to be an easy ride. And we're not trying to shield our daughter from any kind of situation, because that's how we grow people, but we want to give her a better chance at kind of easing into it versus just throwing her with the wolves. So we currently talk about that, right? Like, she is going to daycare. In about 3 years, she's going to be in kinder. So we kind of have a window where we need to start thinking about making those moves. I don't think things will change that quick in this town. So for us, it's more like planning ahead right now.
Yeah. So talking about the two of you, how do you guys maintain your mental health while parenting? You talked a little bit about your physical health. It sounds like you're able to kind of schedule your workouts now a little bit.
It sounds like you have a great job.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have amazing jobs, first of all.
So,
Yeah, we've actually, I think, like, we've been the fittest we've ever been now that we have a kid than before we had a kid.
That's
surprisingly.
For me, wow.
It's all about time.
it's the exhaustion. You just don't sleep, and the pounds just go away.
But no, I think for us, one thing that I do love about our relationship is that from the very beginning, we've communicated to each other what we both like, what we want, and as our relationship evolves and as we grow as people, we continue to clearly tell each other, hey, I want to do this, and for the most part, we're in sync. We love to travel, and traveling is our avenue to relax, to be able to like take that deep breath and reset. We enjoy going to Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, and after our friends introduced us to that town 6 years ago, we just go a few times a year, every year. So traveling for us, I think, is, from my perspective, what kind of help us relax. We plan for it, we look forward to it, and we have a great time. And this past Thanksgiving, our family was, hey, we're having the week of, I give you guys 5 days if you guys want to take a daddy's trip. And we're like, oh, yes, let's pack our bags. It was our first time leaving Mia behind, like, for 5 days. And I'm not going to lie, like, we enjoyed it. We were able to wake up, finish our coffee, finish our breakfast. Like, some of these subtle things in life you don't realize. We were enjoying ourselves to the fullest.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Can I ask you, like, when you come back from a trip like that, do you find it takes a while to get Mia back into your own routine? She's maybe like a little off after that? Alex is like, yeah.
So the only time, so we love to travel, and we said that when we had, Mia, she would, adapt. We want to, bring her to our lifestyle.
Yeah.
We want to, honestly, like, I didn't start traveling until I was in college, and even after that. And so we got her passport. We took her to Mexico at 5 months. Yeah, and then we took her to Europe at 6 months. And then we're already planning another, trip next year. And coming back from Europe was really hard. That it took like 4 days, almost like the week, because the time change and getting her adjusted. And maybe it was a combination of like her teething or whatnot. This time we came back, I think it was pretty seamless. I think it took her like a couple days because, she stayed with family. And so she stayed with, honestly, she had more fun than she would have had in Mexico. There was like, 5 kids in the house and it was like daycare all day and she was just having so much fun. But it wasn't too, into that.
No, I think it's so my family knows, like they stay with with my mom and my sister and my brother and their kids, and they know that I'm like a little strict or maybe a little too much strict, so they try to keep her routine as close as possible. So when we came back, not only we had fun, but her daughter was like kind of back to it.
Okay, good.
But with that said, though, I recently ran a half marathon, and my husband made some signs, and he printed a big cutout of my face to like cheer me on when I was running. So when we went to Mexico, they left that cutout for Mia, and my sister will send me videos of her trying to like grab the face and like playing with it.
Oh.
So I mean, we don't know if that helped, but it was pretty cute, pretty cute to see it. Yeah.
That's sweet. Well, this is our last question. So, what is one thing, resource, or tool that you found that helped change your perspective on parenting?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, we're still in it. It's like the first year. I don't know if you've heard that the Wonder Weeks. It's like an app, and I think and honestly, we don't use it like that often. But there was times that we would refer to it and be like, "Oh, this is what she's going through," and she's not crying just to cry and drive us crazy. There's like some development, or it's part of teething, or like the pain like radiates, and so then it changes kind of your perspective, or a little kind of point of view of how you go about treating or taking care. And so it's I think that's really been helpful for me, just to understand how they're developing and growing, and it allows me to be a better parent.
Yeah. And early on, we started using the Happiest Baby book because we got her this new, and when she will cry, we didn't know how to best soothe her other than just scare her, and so that book with the 5 steps on soothing a baby and kind of how to mix them, that got us through it. To this day, when Mia's kind of getting a little fussy, I go back to my basics, right? You hold the baby, you rock the baby, you do the little sushing. And then, one of my coworkers got us a book about like the full book on parenting. And we read through it, and yes, of course, it gives you like all this guidance, but every kid is different. So I feel like, we will read all this book, all these articles, and then you might only be able to use one tip. But I think that tip was what we needed at that point. Yeah. And recently, as she went to daycare and got more sick, I will go to online and the Seattle's Children's Clinic, and it will kind of give you like, quick tips of like, oh, if she's having trouble breathing, because she's congested, well, this is a few things you can do at home, and like a steam shower so she can, get the mucus softened up, saline solutions. I guess the traditional, typical things they tell you, but it's good to have those resources handy that when something happens, I don't have to freak out too much, because I do freak out like, oh my God, we got to go to the ER, like something's wrong. But it's good to have like something to rely on to calm a little.
One other thing is a support group of sorts. And so at work, there's a moms group, and now they call it, I think, a parents, where they extend it, the invitation. And so there's been a couple times where I go, and sometimes it's just a couple, of us having like coffee and chatting about how like, oh, our baby's doing this, or they're not letting us sleep. And sometimes just having that time to like vent a little bit and share experiences and bond over like the struggles of parenting. There's something very comforting about that, and they're not like coming and like judging you, like, oh, you should be doing this, doing that. And so that's been for me very, very helpful.
It is helpful because family, they mean well, they love us, but there is that little bias on every family member as to like everybody knows better what's to be done for the kid. So like sometimes you need that impartial support group. It does take a village to raise a kid, and originally we've always wanted a kid, and maybe I was naive thinking it was going to be all pretty, but it's beautiful, it's rewarding when she holds our face, and The other day she crawled to me and gave me a kiss, and I was like, oh my god, melted all over. So it makes it all worth it. But you do need, to have not just reading resources, the internet, but also having those people, around you that are going through it and will just kind of tell you the truth. There was a comment made in a podcast recently where, we wanted to talk about sibling rivalry, but I guess everybody is having perfect kids except for mine. Like sometimes we parents don't give each other credit that, hey, making mistakes, it's okay. That struggling a little bit with parenting, it's okay. Because then we might not be able to help our friends. They might think everything is perfect and they're doing something wrong, and that's not cool.
Well, you guys are clearly doing something right. It's beautiful to watch.
I mean, it sounds like she's sleeping through the night, so that's amazing.
Yeah, we got to sleep. I call it a success.
Yeah. And are you do you have plans to have another baby? Another child?
Yes. So we've always talked about minimum 2. I've always said max 3. At one point, Alex was like, however many kids, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. So
but I've changed my mind.
I've changed my mind. It's like, I'm going to be part of my arsenal, so please.
Oh my goodness, yeah. But I grew up an only child. Me and my brother were 12 years apart, and then Alex is one of 3. And so I think it's really important to have a sibling and someone to play with and grow up with, and have that bond with. And so definitely, yeah, at least a pair.
Yeah. And we're working on it. We don't want them to be too far apart because, I don't want to stop changing diapers and dealing with sleepless nights and then starting over.
It'll be really hard to change a diaper while holding your cane at the same time.
Yes, we're not
getting
too
old.
Right.
I make this joke all the time. I'm like, we're going to be retiring the year that Maverick graduates, and he's like, stop. I'm like,
no. There was also the other day we were walking through our neighborhood, and there was this man. I don't know if this.
You got so mad at me.
There's this man randomly walking in our neighborhood,
in just shorts,
with his shirt off, and he was probably like between 60 and 70, but had like very saggy man boobs, and he was like, hey, like waved at us, and Brett was like, that's gonna be you when Maverick graduates high school.
Oh, that's terrible.
No,
look, it's Dada. We were walking with Maverick. Look, it's Dada in 20 years.
You see, that is one motivation when you have a kid.
It is. It's motivation.
I can change.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh my God,
well, maybe we can get to the gym so we can join you in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
That would be.
Oh, we would love that. We're always inviting our friends because it's always fun. I mean, it's our happy place.
I know.
It is our happy place.
We talk about moving over there. There was one year that we went like 3 or 4 times. It was fun.
It's a great place, and the beaches there are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Photo of Steven. What were you doing? Gliding?
Oh yeah, I did.
Gliding,
I think I did parasailing.
Parasailing.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some stories. Some
parasailing. When we're not recording. Listen.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed our interview with Alex Squared Adventures.
Make sure you click subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what other questions you wish we would ask to other gay dads, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, husbands.